I am Anand Sharma, Executive Director at TechPlus Media, and your host for today's event. Welcome once again. We have been running this webinar series titled Marketing Mondays since the lockdown started to provide a platform to marketeers to learn from fellow marketing gurus. Our endeavor has been to focus on very simple yet important topics so that it is convenient for the larger group of marketeers. For example, our last session topic was what are the new marketing mantras? Whereas our today's session is titled how to reach out when my customers are digitally fatigued. We plan to touch upon the following items today. For example, number one, what are the new marketing approaches getting adopted? Then how real or significant the digital fatigue is and how to address it. Followed by how can technology support in this case, and then what measures marketing function and entire organization need to take to adopt or adapt to this new demand. In case you want us to cover any of the topic or have a question, please mention that in the Q&A section or chat panel. In case you are joining live from cxotv.news website, please put the questions to the moderator. We have an eminent panel today. Let me start in pure alphabetical order. We have Ms. Arvinder Singh, Partner Ecosystem Marketing Manager, IBM. A marketing manager leader with 25 plus years of experience working with leading MNCs in IT and telecom industry. Arvinder has performed a variety of roles in marketing and communications, channel partner management, and business strategy function for B2B and B2C brands, helping them grow and gain market share. Proficient in developing innovative, integrated marketing campaigns, including digital strategies to drive growth of brands in the target market. A strategic thinker with a strong hands-on disposition and a distinguished track record of marketing variety of technology solutions to clients and business partner audience in domestic as well as international markets. Arvinder is very digitally savvy and has worked on many innovative campaigns that have helped the brands become more successful. Welcome, Arvinder.
Thank you.
Our second panelist is Ms. Prama Bajaj. Prama is Head of Marketing for India and SAARC at F5. Prama is a mission-oriented, customer-focused, and highly passionate marketing leader with over 18 years of rich global experience in various domains, including automotive, airlines, and IT. She has worked with global giants like Cisco, Symantec, and F5, and has been featured as India's top 20 IT women and covered by media in Women Power articles. Strongly customer-focused, Prama believes in a holistic approach in achieving business objectives with highly involved and collaborative approach. She's a strong believer of leading with a combination of IQ and EQ as a success mantra for growth and impact. Prama holds a bachelor's degree in computer science from Delhi University, my favorite university, and an MBA in marketing from Mumbai University. Welcome, Prama. Our third panelist is Ms. Rebecca Kurian. She is the marketing head at LogMeIn, an experienced marketing leader with almost 2 decades of passionately creating growth stories. Rebecca is currently responsible for end-to-end marketing of LogMeIn in India. She has worked with organizations like Dell, Akamai Technologies, to name a few, predominantly in B2B technology marketing. Rebecca holds a certificate in business strategy from Harvard Online, and Rebecca is also passionate about helping women grow in their careers. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you very much.
Last but not the least, our fourth panelist is Ms. Veda Iyer. She is Global CMO of Mphasis. Veda has over a decade of experience with MNCs like Reliance, ICICI, Syntel. Currently, Veda is global CMO and also heads sales for APAC region. In her current role, Veda is responsible for accelerating and supporting the momentum of the robust pipeline and innovation of Mphasis direct core business. Big wins from the Blackstone portfolios and the DXC technology partnerships by driving strategic and focused marketing efforts globally. Veda is responsible for the recent rebranding of Mphasis as an applied tech company. Veda is driving the corporate marketing initiatives, which include branding, events, website, client engagements, digital marketing initiatives, etc. She owns the strategic relationship with TPAs, ISG, and the analysts community to drive joint go-to-market. Veda also holds an MBA from Narsi Monji. Welcome, Veda.
Hi, Anand. I hope you guys can hear me.
Absolutely, we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, Anand, I'm just going to take just 1 minute more to apologize to all of the audience who can't see my video. And as much as I tried, given the situation in Mumbai where the power cut or the outage has happened, it's completely knocked off my laptop. So I'm unable to come and be present for you to see me. So I'm apologetic about it. So sorry.
No, we are thankful about it, Veda. And somewhere down the line, I feel that it would not have been possible except for the women power in you to come here. Hats off to you for making it out. And this is especially a very special episode of Marketing Mondays. Hats off to the diversity.
Thank you.
When the lockdown started, everybody was quick enough to pivot to digital means and modes of working. Well, there was no other choice or option left unless one wanted to take a break. Lately, we have been hearing about digital fatigue. People are tired of online everything. Never ever the need for face-to-face, or should I say real things, not virtual, has been given its due importance. But I wonder, didn't we advocate or rather moved from brick to mortar to online or digital platforms when we had the privilege of meeting in person? So why so much fuss now? Or is it that we want everything under the sun? We want this and we want that also. Well, how is it impacting consumer behavior? What are the marketing functions that marketing can do about it to ensure that there is not an impact, or if it is only positive impact? Let's explore this with our eminent panel today. Let me start with Arvinder. There's lots of questions I have in my kitty today. So Arvinder, starting with you, what are new marketing approaches that are getting adopted to meet the new demand of reaching out, but with a 6 feet distance?
Thank you, Anand. Thank you for inviting us on this panel. I completely agree with what the point you started with. COVID-19 outbreak has disrupted people's lives and businesses as well. And marketers today are becoming more and more creative, smarter, and trying to infuse richer content to the audience for their businesses so that their businesses can continue to grow. Disruption has caused certain setbacks in the industry, but at the same time opened lots of doors for new growth opportunities, and also brought in front of us mechanisms, digital tools, just like the webinar we are attending right now, which can help us overcome these challenges of face-to-face inability to meet each other. So marketing leaders across small and big companies, domestically and internationally, everybody's been trying to be more and more creative that how do we continue to run our businesses, and not just continue, but even show growth. Just like my company, every other company is aspiring to show growth despite these tough crisis times. So what can we do? Some of the things that I have experienced, I am practicing. I hear the same from my friends within the company at IBM, and lots of peer industry peers, just like the eminent people on the panel here, and many more connections that I have. What are we all trying to do? A few tips that I may want to share over here with people. Number one, let's all revisit. It's high time, the businesses must accept this pandemic situation, and they are all beginning to revisit their basic business plans, which means at the same time, then go back and relook at your marketing plans as well. If need be, modify the erstwhile marketing plans, or maybe we all have ended up recreating marketing plans, marketing funnels, so that we can give the optimum results, keeping in mind the current challenges. No need of having such optimistic plan and then unable to deliver them. The second bit, everything is digital. Go digital. Leverage the virtual channels to the fullest possible. We have experimented with a lot of innovative ideas on digital in the past 2.5 quarters. Beginning February of this month itself, at IPM, we have started doing a lot of activities. Rather, the entire engine of marketing moved to digital, and we have been able to conceptualize new campaigns and deliver new marketing campaigns purely digital, experimenting with whether it's social media websites, whether it's webinars, webcasts, podcasts. And to my surprise, in some of the channels we've even experienced, you remember tele campaigns, which most marketers would say is an old thing. Gone days are those days of tele marketing. But trust me, for some of our products and some of our channels, specifically with business partners, and I practically have experienced it a lot, even those old methods of tele campaigns, outbound tele outreach, have begun to work. If you do it systematically, more cohesively, with a great content, that will be successful. Third tip, invest into a really good content marketing. We are doing that. A lot of us are becoming very, very keen, keenly focused, deep dive into content building and delivering the content in an appropriate way. So the richer your content is, the more it will appear, and not just in a very mundane education-like delivery fashion. Try to make it either entertaining or true to life storytelling. Those are the ways in which you can still deliver the same content that we as marketers want to deliver to the audience, but something that will stick into the mind. So that's the third piece we are being very cognizant and playing with, and that is helping. Another tip I feel we all need to do is, we all are working in industries, be it banking, telecom, IT, retail, manufacturing, whatever it is. And we as marketers and business strategists, we are aware of certain business pain points. But trust me, the pain points have shifted. We know it. So when we are doing marketing campaigns today, we need to relook at the pain points and say, okay, as a banker, my customer had those business needs or priorities erstwhile. However, now it's digital. How to ensure customer experiences remain good with digital only. So how do we understand the customer needs and pain points and accordingly customize the marketing campaign? So those are the few tips, but net, all digital, no doubt. While there is digital fatigue, we are here to discuss how we're going to overcome the digital fatigue while we continue to deliver on the digital routes to other customers we engage with. Those are the few tips I have.
Thank you so much, Harvinder. I think very valid points. There are some follow-up questions which I'll come to you once I come back. Prama, moving on to you, Prama. How do you see the entire scenario unfolding for us from a I'll say helicopter view?
Sure. Thanks, Anand. Sharing my perspective, I would like to say that, with the pandemic scenario, the times are challenging. We are all reinventing, let it be our customers, partners, our family, our employees, team members, everybody, all of us are reinventing the way we live and work. The way business is done, as Harvinder also mentioned, has drastically changed. And generally what happens is you are prepared, and you plan accordingly. But this time, the way everything moved, within few days, it was, not expected by anyone. And especially when the business changed, that means as marketing is very closely aligned with the business because we are there to bring in growth and impact. Marketing had to change too. Now, a couple of things I will like to highlight from the scenario perspective, from the helicopter view, as you said, and a deeper also. The pandemic is real and has been there for months. And now even going forward, we cannot say what's going to happen. So that is something which we all have to accept. And it's not only in India or few countries. Like when a war happens, it happens like between few countries. So it's not, right now the situation is the whole world is fighting with pandemic. So, and there is no choice. We have to go ahead with that. Though with the pandemic, there have been many unwelcoming things which came in, like social distancing. We cannot go out, lockdown. We have to work from home. And of course, everybody, when we say the human aspect, we are all social people. Like let it be work or let it be, like in a personal scenario, we all like to engage. But in this scenario, everybody is locked down at home. But then, as a marketing leader, and even in my personal capacity, I always try to see that, when there are challenging times and the situation is the worst, still, what is a good point? What can you do? What is the, where is the silver lining in that? Or still, where is that ray of hope? Now, looking from that perspective, I realized that, if you see, as a marketing person, and as an industry or a business person, especially taking the example of India, we have been talking of digital transformation. Till last year, the conversations were that, okay, digital transformation is something which must happen in the industry or in a particular account, but when will it happen, we don't know. But what happened with the pandemic? It was no more a choice. Every business, if they had to survive, they had to accelerate the, their pace to move to digital transformation. And while the businesses move to digital transformation, as marketeers, we had no choice. And since there are no physical events, there's no face-to-face interactions, we had no choice, and we had to move 100% digital. Now, if we deep dive a little bit more in the scenario, we are all navigating through a very complex scenario. Your audience is working from home. The priorities have changed completely. Business landscape is no more the same. As Arvinder also mentioned, taking few examples, adding to few more industry, let's say healthcare. What is happening now? People are they're scared to go to hospitals. The consultation is happening online. Education, imagine, would we have ever imagined a nursery class kid sitting online on the computer and doing? And the same thing, an MBA student is doing. And of course, parents have to sit, few of them have to sit again with their children to study, but the scenario has completely changed. Technology, even R&D, back-end, everything is happening from home. So as the business scenario is changing, the customer expectations and customer experience, especially the digital experiences, are also changing. Now, in this 100% digital marketing scenario or digital scenario overall, if you see, everybody is relying on devices. It can be a laptop, it can be a mobile. Everybody is on devices. And I was just going through a research which was done in US, and they said that, like on the average, people are spending 7.5 hours as screen time. And I'm sure India will be much more. It can be for work, it can be for entertainment, it can be for anything. But overall, if you see, the screen time, the digital time has increased many folds. And from the work perspective, if we see in India as marketers, or even from business perspective, the culture has always been a very, engaging culture, like wine and dine, network, while you're, telling about your solutions. We always wanted some time for the audience to network and engage, where they can have a discussion, beyond what was just spoken on the stage. And that was always, there was a very open discussion, very helpful. That is how the scenario is, that, we have to live with it. We don't know when it will change. But, I think one good thing, again, I would say, as I always try to see, what is a positive outcome of that? These unprecedented times have also given birth to immense learning, innovation, agility, because we had to be so fast, in changing our plans, evolvement, much more responsibility on, how we look at the business, how we look at our customers, how we look at our own team members. And I think this is the positive side, which I can say, of this digital marketing era. That's my perspective. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for putting or infusing so much positivity in us. My next question, thanks for that, Prama. My next question,
Thank you.
Radhika, is for you. I don't want to, be that straightforward, but I can't. I can't stop myself. You must be witnessing a huge surge in business, right?
Yeah.
So good for you, right? And good for us that you were there, right? So what is your take on that? On this entire thing, being on the other side of the table, Rebecca. Over to you.
Yeah, so you are right. We are seeing growth in 3 digits, in very, 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 very high growth. What happened in the beginning of the pandemic, I think we were one of the few companies that basically grounded all the staff immediately. I remember I was getting on a flight to go for an event to Delhi. That's when I saw my CEO's email, which said you're grounded. So I literally, went back that week and redid my plan with my team, because I guess at that point we sort of came to the realization this is not going to be a 1 week effort or a 1 month effort. I mean, you really had to redo the plan. So having said that, we just took a pause. We were about 50%, events and a lot of outdoor activity versus, 50% digital. We still, a lot of our products are try and buy, so we still did have a pretty significant % of digital activities budget. So we basically took that whole thing out, redid the plan, and built a 100% digital plan. And then the surge happened. So starting from, I think, end of March and starting from beginning of March, end of February, we were literally seeing the growth like a hockey stick. So in the sense, the organic inbound interest that came in was literally from here to here. So it was already high because we're all try and buy product. So almost all of our products have a 15-day free trial. So everybody can sign up for a free trial. So people normally go to the website, take a free trial, and then get to us. But now the demand had become so high that it was like literally, I remember we didn't have to do anything much because none of my sales teams needed leads, because the lead volume was so high at that point. So yes, it has been we saw that very, very high surge. It's sort of stabilized now. So even though I redid the plan and said we will go all digital, we took a pause because nobody needed leads at that time. So there was no point in actually spending that money and doing activities. We had some other activities that we wanted to focus on, which we continued focusing. But everybody in the company, everybody, including me, had to take calls because we just could not. We had no capacity. We were planned for that kind of volumes. So that was the situation we were in. And so, yes, business has been good for us in India because of that. And we have seen growth in every single one of our products. And I want to introduce LogMeIn. I don't know if anybody knows, but we are a remote working company. We have officially declared ourselves as a remote working company. So we are a SaaS product company. We have multiple products that actually support your work from home. So collaboration, support, which is how do you support remote working employees for the CIO organization, and also security. So we play in all of these areas, and for some reason, all of our products were always designed to support remote working. So while products like GoToWebinar and all, GoToMeeting saw a surge, but even our support products really saw a surge because you suddenly had overnight CIOs suddenly figuring out, now my employees working from home, how do I support them and how do I make sure that they are up and running and there's no productivity loss and their projects are happening on time. So
True.
That also actually saw a big surge. So that has been the story for us. But we are we are, as a company, as our organization, we are completely not doing any physical events till at least the end of this year, and then we pick up what looks like 2021. But I think what is going to change for us as a company is that earlier I would do a 50-50 plan, a 50% on remote activities which are digital, and then 50% on events. Now I probably do a 70%, like I'll do more digital activities because I think we have learned that digital works. And let's not forget the elephant in the room. Fatigue is a big yes. There is big fatigue, but I think the future is going to be a balanced future. So you have to do a. I'm saying 2021. It has to be a balance between physical and digital, and you don't really have to do 100 events anymore. There are so many ways that we have experimented and won over on trying to do these things, without actually doing a physical event. And sort of that's
Sure.
my story of how we did it.
No, that's great. That's great. That's a good problem to have. I'll come back to you as to how you have been reaching out or how you plan to reach out to your customers when most of things are digital, right? I remember I was challenging the basic premise. Do you feel that digital fatigue is setting in, and is there a digital fatigue? And if you can focus on what are the different media strategies for different target segments, that would be great.
Thank you. Rebecca already introduced the elephant in the room, the digital fatigue. And yes, let's discuss about the strategies. But before we get to that, just 2 points to make. Let's understand what's causing this digital fatigue. Myself as a marketing leader, many others, yourself, Anand, there, and all the listeners, viewers of this episode, we are experiencing it. But how do you narrate and interpret digital fatigue? What I have understood is 2 things. Number one, visual fatigue, which is basically the physical discomfort that arises after I have been experiencing or I have a prolonged exposure to laptop, my phone, or an iPad, tab, whatever, including television. I mean, we all are still enjoying television to whatever few hours we can. So that's visual fatigue, which is physical, and then there is a mental fatigue, which is leading to, because of prolonged hours of my working and imbibing content, receiving, assimilating, hearing, viewing content, leading to fatigue in my mind, decrease in my motivation, my action levels, my enthusiasm, and my ability to absorb and comprehend as well. So those are the 2 things which is actually fatigue. Now, marketing leaders, all of us here, we have to counter both the visual physical fatigue and the mental fatigue, which is overall, let's say, digital fatigue. I'm very proud to say that at IBM, we, our visionary leaders and our marketing teams have been extremely innovative in countering these things, and we have really taken a lot of innovative ways in which we could counter this. Try to overcome digital fatigue while we still try our best to deliver content to our customers, to our partners. A few examples, let's say, and these are generic. I've really gathered some dipsticks done with my partners, with my friends in other industries, and what I have understood is the way to beat this digital fatigue is number one, as a marketing leader, try to be more nimble with your choice of digital tactics that you are trying to introduce. Too many at the same time, too pushy won't perhaps work for you. You have to be really subtle. Look at shifting your SEO, SCM strategies, your patterns for the social media and the web digital media, slightly more, tweak them. Bet on fewer social, let's say, social media channels or digital channels rather than spreading a lot and trying to deliver your content through multiple of them. So focus on improvising your SEO, SCM on the few social channels. That's one. Second is really look at your content. We don't have the luxury of pushing and being very salesy, if I may quote at this point of time. But we have to be innovative in being more creative and delivering our content, as I said earlier, in an entertaining or a storytelling or a more compassionate and compassionate, whichever way, wherein customers feel they're engaged. We have to reduce the duration in which we tell the same message. So a crisper content, more compassionate content over the digital channel still. And then as a marketer, employee within a larger company, we have KPIs. So, let's look at the KPIs. I mean, what exactly do I want to achieve through my marketing message, which I'm trying to deliver through a digital channel? Is it I'm trying to do awareness creation? Am I trying to do acquisition of new customers, or I'm trying to do cross-sell, upsell, or retention of my old employees by selling them a old customers by selling them a promotional message? So what are the KPIs? Let me focus on 1 or 2 KPIs from my digital campaign rather than trying to achieve everything. It's not going to be possible. Very important, as we have to, I mean, there is as no choice today, digital is the way to go. Old era of advertising, print and other things are bygone. Let's be, let's take in, be accepting of the fact that old age advertising marketing ways are gone. We really can't go back to them. We have to be more economical, widespread, faster in delivery, crisper, and therefore digital is the best way out. But to beat the fatigue, understand your customer better. Do a lot more segmentation than you would do as a marketer earlier. Today, myself as a marketer, before we landing at any campaign, we are really looking at our data in a lot more depth, a lot more cuts, and a lot more past historical data is being looked at. And therefore, segmentation is done, and understanding that we go behind 1 or 2 segments of a customer with one message, other than painting the whole town red. That won't work. Okay, don't have generic message. We are trying to be very specific. For example, when we're talking to channel partners trying to promote our cloud messaging, we really try to be, look at cloud partners first, try to reach them through influencers, through bloggers, those kind of a message, rather than giving cloud messaging to everybody. So we have to be much more targeted and segmented approach. And there is never, losing sight of the fact that content has the power. If your content is very engaging, you will be able to deliver it in a nicer way, which is basically using mobile tools. Websites remain the primary tool, but today every piece of content that we deliver as marketeers has to be mobile ready at the same time, keeping in mind the bandwidth of telecom, whether it's 4G, 5G, what is the data bandwidth one the consumers will use. Are our advertisements, our content, whether our webinars, our blogging contents, our social posts, are they accessible, readable, equally engaging on mobiles as much as on laptop? Because not everybody will consume it on laptop. So we have to really keep it in mind, multiple things, when we are using digital as a channel, be it the channels of engaging, whether it's mobile versus laptop versus other modes. What's the mode of you delivering it? How is the content being delivered in a storytelling, compelling fashion with more real life experiences being shared, keeping the end stories more engaging, and then basically using the right channels and not trying to do too many things already. Be more specific. And that's what I have learned. We did some experiments in early part of the year, first half. We improvised them into second half, and we're even fine-tuning them now at this moment as we still sit and refine our October, November, December marketing activity. So continuously fine-tune.
Sure. You made me thinking, Arvinder. I was thinking, I was thinking whether people who have been in the NCR region, which is Delhi, Gurgaon, Noida, they know the pains if somebody is traveling from Noida to Gurgaon every day up and down. So either you have to take calls while you are driving to office because it's a 2-hour drive one side, or you listen to the radio. So when you mentioned about the screen fatigue or those type of things, when you were classifying that, it made me thinking that how this has also changed the paradigms of digital marketing. I sincerely doubt whether somebody an office goer would be listening to radio at 8:30 in the morning or 9 in the morning, whereas since you were driving, you wanted to have some relaxation and had to listen to that thing. Anyways, I'll come to that. Interesting. It's interesting. I've taken some notes, Arvinda. Thanks.
That's why I brought in the fact that it's not just delivery, mental stress. We have to keep in mind physical stress. So when lesser content, lesser time. Today, all the psychologists, medical practitioners, they're all telling us how to keep our mental health up, how to keep our eyesight healthy. So we have to be cognizant of that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Arvinder. Coming on to my next question, would you want to touch base as to what behavioral changes you have experienced while interacting with your customers and colleagues? I'm taking it the cue from where Arvinda left about psychology and all setting in.
Yeah, I think this is a very important question actually, because if you see, in our generation, we have seen that now, when we look at the professional side, this human factor is very dominant now. Earlier, most of the talks have always been numbers, metrics, and all that. And as Rebecca, while telling, she mentioned about her, CXO mentioning that, immediately when this happened about the safety of the employees, whether they're motivated, how they're performing. So this is a very important factor because today, predominantly, actually, if you see, when you call up your customer or your employer or anybody, you will see that safety is predominant. Everybody is very concerned of the safety of themselves, their family, their employees, and their organization, overall community, and the world as a whole. And all the news which we read or hear, it is quite disturbing. And it touches, like when we're talking about the behavior, it does touch you on the human aspect, besides the being just a professional. And actually, if you see, everybody, any professional or a homemaker, everybody, firstly, you are a human. And then you carry that persona. True. When we look at the behavior aspect, our customers or our employees, everybody, I think safety is very predominant. If you see, we had not heard generally, whenever you get a call from anybody from a bank or you are calling your customer or anybody, first thing you ask is, hope you are safe. Hope your near and dear ones are safe. So that is, if you see, it's a good thing that that has happened, but the sad part is it happened because of pandemic. So now another thing, if you see that there is a blurring work-life balance. The good part, okay, we can say that we are spending more time with family, but the sad part is that even if customers, employees, everybody, all of us, even when we are with family, we are actually not with the family. So I keep on hearing this from many of my colleagues and people, that this is little sad that, though everybody keeps on saying family time, but we are there in full time, we are working, because if the expectation also, many times it is the 24/7 people are available. So one good factor which I've seen in overall in the industry with customers, partners, other people, many companies have also mentioned that, the safety as a predominant factor and to take care of the well-being first. That's a good positive change which I'm seeing in the industry. Now, while the scenario is challenging, we also saw that India, the lockdown, of course, got open, even when we knew it can go to the community level or, but the economy perspective and also from business perspective, whatever the challenges may be, the work continues, the business continues, and the marketing continues. Now, and digital fatigue, of course, it's real. We are all going through that, and people do talk about that. I'm just going to share another example. I think it was sometime in May timeframe, because Jan 30th was the time, I think, when COVID was, announced here in India, and then we had to change our strategy and everything. And around March, April timeframe, we were all working 100% digital, doing digital marketing. May timeframe, we did a CXO roundtable. And then I called up the panelist, the CIO of a very renowned company, to thank him for his participation and his valuable suggestions, because I have interacted with him at other, like a couple of other events also, which we did with F5. And the first thing he mentioned was, this is now in May timeframe and we are in October, so imagine 6 months, all of us are surviving in that. He said that, Prama, there is a lot of digital fatigue. So this was the first time when I'm hearing from the horse's mouth. And for me, the audience is of key importance. And he said digital fatigue is there. There are so many webinars. We are being invited for so many panel discussions. We really don't know what to do. And then we are at home. So it's not even that, completely cut off, that you can focus on work. And then there are challenges. If you see those CXOs, they also have to see the challenges because the enterprises are going through a digital transformation, the major shift. So the professional challenges are also much more. So that is where I heard from the customer, and of course within colleagues, I hear a lot of these things, blurring work life, digital fatigue and all that. But again, as I always try to see the positive in that, one positive I could see, and which many friends we discussed, the travel is reduced.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then, as you mentioned about Noida to Gurgaon, imagine the physical fatigue which was there. Now, earlier for a meeting, let's say, even if you have to travel to US or for your QBRs to different parts of the world, you were there. But now, since there is no option, all that is not happening, but still the work is happening. And, like at F5, we have been able to show very good ROI even in these times from marketing activities. So though the behavioral changes are there, but I think, as it said, tough situations do not last, but tough people last. So similarly, I think people are getting used to it.
Sure. I echo your thoughts, Prama, that, apart from behavioral changes or the changes in our approach or attitude towards a lot of things, environment has also changed. People could see the Eiffel Tower from the balcony. all jokes going around. So yes, it's a positive change to the environment as well. So
as Anand, as you mentioned about the environment, another joke which comes to my mind very often, it's, I hear or see this on WhatsApp, is that people say that now, all the animals and birds are out in open and we humans are locked down in cages.
Absolutely. Something like this pandemic had to, make us realize that we are just part and parcel of the larger ecosystem. All right, cool. Rebecca, moving on to my next question to you. Okay, how pre-pandemic or post-pandemic, you as a marketeer, you have been reaching out to your customers, but I know, the pandemic has forced upon us digital means only. But two questions rather in one. First is, what has changed in this scenario for you? Okay, how are you reaching out to your customers? And secondly, how do you think going forward it's going to evolve? Because we are tired. Yes, true. Because perhaps lack of physical, appearances. That's where perhaps augmented reality or virtual reality can come to rescue. But by the time those gadgets come in, Arvinder brings them to us. We'll need to live with this, right? So over to you, Rebecca. What do you think has changed, and how do you think the future is going to shape up?
Yeah, so I think what has changed is really like with less notice planning. So you may know marketers actually spend a lot of time understanding the markets that they're going after, their persona, their industries, to make a plan. So we really had to make a plan overnight, or in a week in my case. So it was a plan that we sort of thought it's a makeshift plan, right? Like we were just going to sort of cross this bridge. So we had this plan, which was like, all right, we have all of this budget that we have got. We still have to deliver this kind of pipeline or business. We have to create so much of a growth. So if that is what we have to do, what can we do in the interim that will sort of fix this problem? And so all of us sort of created that plan, went ahead with it. And I guess everybody thought webinars as number one because, okay, now we don't have, and then so we just start doing webinar. So imagine every single company, every single event organization in the world, every media house was doing webinars to focus on a customer. So it was only natural that there will be a fatigue, because if everybody got on to getting on the webinar, there was no other way but that fatigue happened. So I think that plan was good. It was good from a perspective of sort of meeting that bridge, getting over that, the immediate thing that we had to focus on. But I think in the long run, to answer your second question, it will definitely not be all digital, because this will remain. And I love how Arvinder actually put it very beautifully, right? So I think it will have to be, you will have to be very narrow and very crisp in terms of how you are targeting your audience. So you cannot really do like boil the ocean anymore. So you have to be very narrow in terms of how you're going after, who you're going after. So if I have to like be extremely geeky and explain in a marketing funnel, you will typically do the first half, or let's say almost 3/4 of your funnel through digital. But in that digital, you will slice it to personas, industries, and how you're going to do. So the first couple of slices on the top could be non-webinar, could be really content based through video, and all that kind of content. And you basically bring them down the funnel, and maybe you'll have a very targeted webinar. Now today, people are just like, my neighbor will send me an invite saying, come join this webinar. It won't be like that. It will be like very targeted kind of a webinar. That is, I am talking to you because you are interested in this topic. So that will be your little bit of the funnel. So first you'll do digital, which is content based, and then you'll do webinars, which are very targeted. And right at the bottom of the funnel, this is 2021, and I'm not a pandemic expert. In the situation we have, the vaccine, pandemic is under control, we will still have some physical form of reaching out, but it again will not be large events. It will be really focused activities. So that's what I would spend, right? I will look at taking the right at the bottom of my funnel, my very targeted prospects to dinner, or to actually have an engagement with my CEO, the CIO, or people, rather than really taking 100 people to dinner. So it will be very focused, and I think that is the future of marketing. We will start putting a lot of thought into thinking like that. This is good time because 2021 is a new year for us, and we are thinking like that now. I push all my agencies to be creative now. I mean, in the beginning, I didn't. I was also spraying, literally spray painting. But I think now I've also learned that's not going to work, and people are just not going to come to a webinar just because they call them to come to a webinar. It has to be content that is relevant, that they're interested in, and they have to be somewhere at the bottom of the funnel. And the top, you just educate them. Their video content is going to play a very key role. I think we are missing that out a bit. So I think that, in my view, is sort of the now and the future of what B2B marketing looks like.
So, Vida, wanted to understand from you as to what differences do you see when you compare different regions vis-a-vis India?
And as a technology company, what we do is we place our customers at the core of every transformation or every engagement that we do. And therefore, it's right for me to say that the technology industry today has come to a very precarious position. Although businesses understand the importance of technology for achieving their objectives, they are also experiencing what we are discussing in the topic today, the digital transformation fatigue. And the fatigue is setting in, but there is also a rising demand, and most of the panelists have covered this, for relevant, timely, value-added services, and all of these have to be given to the customers based on their data, their preferences, their location, and their needs. So the business of technology has now shifted focus from pure technology capabilities to business outcomes, and which is what all of us on this panel will agree, that today our customers want to understand what is it from a business you can achieve and provide the user experiences that we are looking at, right? Now, the other thing to think about is that today international diversification is coming at a point when the world is becoming truly global. So in addition to our spending patterns, the businesses are getting more digital, more global, and the buying behavior in every country is also therefore changing depending on the maturity of the market. However, even if we say that there is digital fatigue, our experience while interacting with multiple CXOs is that they are finding this to be more enabling them to achieve what they would have done 3 to 5 years later. They're able to achieve that today. They're able to provide that to their customers today, and they're finding themselves having more time in hand interacting with their end customers or interacting with enterprise clients virtually than they had to spend time by traveling globally, and therefore they are also contributing significantly to a lot of costs which were a big impediment for them to funnel into business outcomes or achieving their business goals. So if you see from a value story point of view, even though there is a digital fatigue, you will be able to achieve what we call as what is in it for me if you are able to provide that value to the customer in the channel that you use. So the engagement models remain the same. The tactics for reaching out to your customers have changed, right? When I'm saying engagement model, it means your need to provide the user experience, your need to provide value, your need to continue engaging with the client still is there. Your tactics to do that is varying, and that is where we need to differentiate ourselves, and that is where if you are able to provide that differentiation, you will find your audience reaching out or logging on to the various channels even if there is a digital fatigue. So that is what I wanted to say in my first point, that globally there is fatigue, but globally there is also a need to understand that if you are relevant, if you are providing the right kind of content, if you are doing extensive research on your customers to ensure that they are getting what they are coming on the call for, or they are coming on the digital channel for, or they are attending your event, if your messaging, if your content, if your solutions have the recall, have the value, then they're ready to leave aside the digital fatigue. That has been my experience.
Cool. Thank you so much, Veda. Yeah, I totally, second your thoughts that if it is very, and I've taken my notes as well. If it's relevant, if it's timely, if it's value added, and you have segmented it properly, and rather than spraying it all across, then yes, perhaps, we might be able to, rather than bombarding, if you just reach out to the target person in the right manner. Absolutely.
And I would also want to add on to some of the measures that we can take as a marketing community. And I think my fellow esteemed panelists have alluded to a lot of it, but I think one of the key things that we have witnessed at our organization with our clients is that there is this need that has come out for us to do a lot of joint user experience journey, and this is typically now done through virtual design workshops, right? When you do these design workshops, you can really understand end to end the whole journey that the customer is wanting to take. You're able to map it out, you're able to preempt and prepone the digital need that the customer has, create personas like how Rebecca was calling out, and really get them to see the value of the overall engagement that they want to do. More importantly, what you're also witnessing is that people, their ability to give time and their patience for a lot of things has also shortened, because the whole day they are on calls, or they find themselves doing more than 12 hours a day, and still it seems as if your work has not ended, and it still seems that you are needed even if it is 12 in the night, you're needed even if it is 7 in the morning, because just because you're virtual, you're supposedly expected to be available all the time. Therefore, if as a community we can do a lot more short video based engagements, and either through WhatsApp or through your website or through the channels of engagements that you may decide for yourself, if you're able to articulate your messaging, you also can save a lot of your own time and bandwidth by avoiding repetition of the same message, because many a times you land up doing multiple calls on the same subject with many people. So why don't we do those kind of engagements and use a lot of virtual ways for nurturing leads, whether it is campaigns through social media or whether there is a targeted engagement that you want to do digitally. If you do some of these tactics, you are able to do broader, wider outreach, and you're still able to achieve outcome that you set yourself for, because at the end of the day, for every dollar that you have that you have spent as a marketer, you're questioned on the ROI. Therefore, it becomes that much more important that you know what you're signing up for. And I'd recently gone through a Gartner report which said that for every well-crafted targeted email, that is one that is better targeted and sent to a smaller lot of specific segment, it can receive a 10 to 15% response rate, which is higher than non-targeted standalone mass mailing. Therefore, it is important for you to select your audience, research on them, and keep it targeted. So those are some of the things as a community, if you are able to achieve, I think it will help all of us.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Veda. We'll follow Arvinder, Prama, and Rebecca.
Yeah, sure. 1 minute wrapping up. At IBM, we have a study for customers which says that 67% of the customers that worldwide we engage with and know the prospects have accelerated their digital adoption journey. So whatever pandemic, whatever situation may be, customers are fast tracking their digital adoption, business transformation journeys, and most of these will be fulfilled through digital channels. So it's a rocking time for us as digital marketers. Whether customers are spending 7.5 or 9 hours of the digital tools, not a worry. Innovative ways. What we are adopting is, yes, thanks Veda, you picked up beautifully, articulated some points like, we are also engaging very heavily into digital bites, not clips anymore, bites. We are, while commute times have reduced, or to manage the commute times, if it's too much of a digital fatigue, take to audios. I know all of you have heard of podcasts, like popular channels like Avaz.com, storytelling through podcasts while driving. Instead of hearing to the music or a news, I may just plug in and listen to a podcast, which is storytelling, like my friends Rebecca would be talking about her life, or Anand, you talk about your experiences and rich expertise or whatever you have gained. I love to do that. So audio, again, small snippets of video bites. Use social channels very thoughtfully. Again, as I said, the mantra here is segmentation and data specific marketing. Look at which segments are responding to what content where. I mean, a US and a UK report that I was reading over the weekend said that 26% customers, prospects respond better to the same content if it is location specific and it is tailor made to their personal hobbies, which all the social channels and web channels today are very good, whether it's Google and Facebook and then LinkedIn. We all get very tailor-made messages and use those analytics rather than just spraying. So lesser messages, perhaps, video bites, engaging, content rich, and lot segmentation. Those would be my thoughts. Thank you.
Basically say, I think everybody has, if you look at what everybody has said, I think there's all these underlying notes which everybody's thinking the same thing. All of us are thinking the same thing. So I think as marketers, if you are listening to it, I know a lot of companies are just waiting to go back to office and start events. I don't think that is going to be the future. Embrace digital, but just learn how to be extremely targeted and like video bite based activity and all of the things that folks have mentioned here today. But embrace it, because it is not going to be the life that we saw pre-pandemic. It definitely is not going to be that. That would be my just parting thoughts, even though this fatigue is there today.
Sure, thank you.
At Mphasis, we strongly believe and advocate that every company is a tech company. Some just don't know it. Every business is a tech business. Some just don't know it, right? And I think COVID or non-COVID, I think the scenario has changed, and still it makes a great point that the fundamentals of businesses haven't changed. You still need your customers, you still need profitability, you still need to engage, you still need to provide user experience. And therefore, this becomes a good time for us to start looking at digital a little bit more seriously. As an organization, all of us have to be truly agile, which is one of the key aspects I would give as a parting thought to all of the listeners, and also to people who are all with me on the panelists. They would agree that it has become extremely important for us to be agile. It has become extremely important for us to make content personalized as well as relevant. It has become extremely important for us to pay attention to cybersecurity. And even though it is not something which is a direct purview of marketing, but we are one of the biggest users of the social channel or the digital channel, if you will, and therefore working with your various business groups, including your sales organization, you now have added your group of influence, group of people who you'll work with to be your cybersecurity team. So that's extremely important. And I would say that we need to continue to be social, because despite the topic that we're discussing today, which is digital fatigue, social media is still going strong. In fact, recently I read a report which said the traffic on Facebook has actually surged in the recent months, and people have started using that to connect with each other more than they used to in the past. And also, LinkedIn is now considered to be cool, which earlier was not. So a social first approach combined with wherever it is possible to still have the personal touch will make every enterprise go a long way, and it will really take your brand, your services, and your product to the next level. So here's me wishing all of us a great digital journey ahead. Thank you.
I'm speechless in front of such an eminent panel. But just a wrapping up thought, we all know that too much of anything is bad. And that's what we have been hearing, that people are getting digitally bogged down, right? But do we have a choice? Perhaps yes or no, right? Wherein as a recipient, I can choose as to what do I focus on and what do I ignore, right? And as marketeer, I think it has been enough said by Prama, by Rebecca, by Arvinder, by Veda, as to be selective in choosing your customer. Don't bombard everybody. It's not going to land you anywhere either, right? So I think the audience would be able to uncover some of the areas that can be worked upon and find alternatives or workarounds in case there is no straight answer. Okay. With this, not only you will be able to reach your target audience or customers in a much more human manner, but also in a manner which is readily acceptable to the customer as well. And somebody mentioned ROI, and for every penny that counts, yes, we'll need to justify that as well. Well, you can watch the past webinars on www.cxotv.news. I thank each one of you for taking out time and attending this event. Wish you all the success during these challenging times. And I must share that Tech Plus Media is hosting a mega CXO Tech Summit and Awards event on 27th and 28th of October, with some 1,500 plus delegates expected to join the virtual conference. You should not miss it. With this, we call it a day. Thanks once again for your esteemed presence, and I wish you a great week ahead. Thank you so much.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.